Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray. Joining us this week, Emily Hoeven, now a political columnist for the San Francisco Chronicle. Emily, nice to have you here. A lot in the news has been about major tech companies laying a lot of people off. What is this going to do to California?
Yeah, well, I think, of course, it's going to have a financial blow to many of the major tech hubs in California, including San Francisco. We're actually seeing Mayor London Breed put out this idea of tax breaks for certain businesses to keep them in the city and get that tax revenue. Also for the state, which is very dependent on the income tax levels of very high earners. If some of those are losing their job, that could pose a problem for California. And what is actually pretty interesting is that with these tens of thousands of layoffs, we are actually seeing the state of California launch an initiative to try to recruit some of these laid off tech workers to work for the state. And so they're kind of trying to capitalize this and kind of fill up their own agencies with those layoffs.
Mm-hmm. We had Adam Schiff, who is now running for Senate here in the state of California. He was here at the station earlier this week. Would you consider him to be the front runner for the Dianne Feinstein position at this point?
It's interesting. I mean, I feel like he has gotten sort of the bulk of the attention thus far. He obviously has a massive campaign war chest. He has the endorsement of a lot of high-level politicians, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, which I think is really interesting. And it will be fun to watch in the upcoming months, you know, whether the governor and how that Feinstein herself and our other U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, how they weigh in on this race and who they throw their weight behind. I will also just note that, you know, if Schiff does end up being the front runner and ultimately the winner, he would join Senator Alex Padilla, who was appointed by Newsom in the Senate. And that would mark the first time in a very long time that California has two male senators. For the longest time, we've had two female up until Padilla's appointment.
Yeah, Barbara Boxer, who's no longer serving. Utah, now we bring up Utah out of the blue, but Utah is the fastest growing state population-wise in the country. And many or most of the people are coming from California. And the Utah governor is saying now, Californians, stay out of here.
Yeah, you know, it makes me laugh because there are a lot of red state governors that have similar rhetoric. There was a former campaign in Texas where it was like, don't California my Texas, basically keep your left state policies out of my state. And in California, we saw from recent data that from April 2020 to July 2022, California lost about 500,000 people, which is more than any other state except for New York. And many of the states that had the biggest amount of people come into them was Texas and Florida. And so I think we are seeing this very interesting shift where people are going from these large blue states to these red states. And I will say, having worked in Utah in the past, they have what's called the Silicon Slopes. They also have a very severe homeless crisis. And I know that the governor there was concerned that we don't have enough housing or water for our own residents, let alone these people fleeing California.
Californians, stay out of Utah, says the governor. Emily, thank you. You can find Emily's political opinion columns at sfchronicle.com. You can also contact Emily at emily.hoeven@sfchronicle.com.